In this video, I'm going to give you the exact framework that we're using to convert 50% of our outreach replies into booked appointments. For context, my company did over $250,000 in the last 3 months just using outreach. So I'm going to break down the exact flow we use to take someone from a reply into an actual booked meeting. All right. So the first 3 things that we do to convert someone from a reply into an actual booked meeting is number 1, obviously respond back quickly. So this is where most people get it wrong, is they don't actually look at the time frame, right? And obviously people say speed to lead is important, but what we've actually noticed is that by changing our reply rate from 1 hour to 5 minutes, we've not seen like a 20% lift or 30% lift. We've gotten more than double the amount of people that actually book if we can respond within 5 minutes. So there's a couple actual ways that you can implement and do this. Number 1 is obviously you can set up a notification to go to yourself whenever someone replies. The second way is, if you're more high level, is you can actually just hire someone to do this full time, which is what we have in place. For ourselves, we generate about 20 to 30 positive replies per day, which is how we're able to book 10 to 15 meetings a day doing that, right? So that's basically the first thing. The second part is after they actually reply, and I'll go into what we actually say and how we actually reply in the actual scripts that we use. But the second thing we do is if they don't book after that reply within 10 minutes, what we do is we scrape their phone number and we actually call them. So the way that we do this is we have their name, we have their business name, right? So what we can do with that information is we can actually go to their LinkedIn account, and there's different Chrome extensions that we use, and there's a whole bunch of them that we use to actually scrape their phone number from LinkedIn, from their LinkedIn profile. And what we use is Prospeo is the first one we look at, but if we can't find it there, we have like a whole stack of other softwares that we use to find their phone number, right? And then from that call, we just set them. We have about a 20% pickup right there. And then if they don't pick up, we put them into our warm follow-up sequence. So basically what we do here is this is our long-term nurture process, where essentially what we're going to do is we are going to follow up with them every single day for the next 8 days. And then after that, we're going to intermittently just outreach to them. So the way that this looks is, if it's through cold email, for example, we are going to send them a cold email, or not a cold email at this point, it's a warm email, right? It's just a follow-up every single day. And what consists of these emails is basically sending AI-generated Loom videos, which is another thing that we have in place as a process, that's basically AI personalized to them. So that it looks like we're, personally reaching out, trying to reconnect with them back to the thing that they already said they wanted. The next thing that we will do is, we'll just use simple bumps. We'll send them testimonials, things like that, and just come at getting them on a call from different types of angles, right? And after we send those emails, again, we'll continue to call them once every single day for the next 8 days. And then after that, if they still don't pick up, or they don't say they're not interested and they don't book, like they just completely ghost you, then we'll just randomly dial them every now and then when we have time. And this is why it's important to have a setter in place so that they can do this full time. So we have 2 setters right now. One's booking about 10 a day and one's booking about 5 a day, right? So that's basically our process. Now, in terms of how we actually execute the response framework, so this says email response framework. You can use this for LinkedIn, and we use this for LinkedIn as well. The same framework applies. You can even use this, honestly, when we're replying to different questions and objections on sales calls, but I'll show you basically how this works. And by the way, this whole document, like all the SOPs and everything that we use internally to book over 200 calls every single month, this is all like something that we actually give our clients so that they can build out internally into their businesses. So if you do want help actually with that, I will help you implement it personally, and you can book a call with my team down below. But before we go actually how to respond to these people, obviously the most important thing is the speed to lead, right? But in terms of the actual response framework, this is what you need to focus on. So let's say most people are not going to respond. Let's say you send a cold email. Most people are not going to respond with "sure, let's book a call," right? They're probably going to respond with either a question or an objection, right? Which might look something like, the most common ones you're going to get are, "What's the price? How does it work? And do you, basically, why should I believe you," right? Or, "I've tried something similar and it didn't work for me," or, "I don't think this works," or something like that, right? So what you want to do is, the first thing that you want to do is you want to gratify their response and show that you understand where they are coming from, right? So you are going to have a significantly higher impact on their decision-making framework if they feel like you understand their point of view, right? So the way that you would basically do this, let's say if someone was like, their objection was like, "I don't have 45 minutes to book a call," right? if the call schedule is 45 minutes. So, and the way you'd respond to this is, right, the way that you would, gratify the response and actually show them that you understand is like, makes sense, John. I wouldn't have 45 minutes just to talk to some random person either, right? So now we're kind of breaking their pattern, showing them that we understand where they're coming from, especially if I didn't know that this was actually going to be able to, get me results. Then you need to go into, this would obviously be if it was a question, you would justify why you can't answer the question in detail. If it was an objection like this, then you want to justify why they should book regardless of the objection that they gave. So you would say something like, right, totally understand where you're coming from. I wouldn't have time to talk with someone if I didn't know that they were going to give me results either. I do want to mention the fact though, right, and this is going to be, I'm just making up with this up in like 3 seconds, right? So you could probably think through a better sentence than this. But at the same time, we've worked with dozens of other people in your exact situation and helped them add multi-5 figures to their revenue. And I know that if you were able to achieve that same result with just 45 minutes time, that would be something worth your time. So in the first 15 minutes, and then now we're going to justify why the call is valuable. In the first 15 minutes, or the first 30 minutes, I can go through our strategies, show you how we can actually help you, and then if you feel like it's worth the other 15 to 30 minutes, then we can go from there, right? So again, this is a very specific example, but this is how you would actually do this, right? And then you want to lead them into the next step, and you want to call them to action. So feel free to book whatever time works best for you here. So the idea of this is that what a lot of people do is they get stuck just like being combative with the objection and not actually going anywhere, right? And then you just end up in this cycle of like them not being interested. So the idea is that there's basically 3 things that you want to focus on. They need to feel like you understand them. That's the first thing, because if they don't even feel like you understand them, they're just going to want to, keep fighting you, basically, if it feels combative. So you need to show them that you actually understand them and empathize with the situation. The second thing is that people do not do things for your reasons, they do things for theirs. And you probably have, again, heard this before, but people don't implement it, right? And the way that you actually need to take that idea and actually apply that is that when you are asking for a call, you don't position the call as just a call, right? You need to position something that they want. So if you're just saying, feel free to book a call here, right? Or if your whole thing was like, based around them booking a call, they're not going to care that much, right? So you have to talk about why the call is going to be beneficial to them. Right? So if we're saying, I'm going to give you the strategies to be able to help you add an extra, insert result that they want, that's going to be something more valuable that's going to make them, significantly more likely to actually schedule the call. So you need to actually justify why it's worth actually booking the call. And then obviously the most important part is that you actually leave a call to action. So we want to avoid obviously going in circles, but we need to give them the next step, right? We need to make it very easy for them to actually do what we want them to do. Because if we're not giving them a next step to do something, they're just gonna, they might even agree with the reframes that you're giving them, but you're not telling them what to do, and they're going to be significantly less likely to actually do what you want to do if you don't tell them, right? You need to give them the actual next step after every single question you answer, and after every single objection you answer. So I'll give you a very common example. So if they ask for the price, this is how you would actually use this 5-step framework. So, hi John, thanks for the question, right? Last thing either of us wants to do is take time talking about something that's out of budget, right? Because again, why are they asking for the price? Because they think it might be not within their budget, right? So we want to acknowledge that and make them feel like you understand where they are coming from, right? The price completely depends on who we work with, since we would want to come up with something that works for you. This is a logical reason, this is a logical, justifiable reason why we cannot answer their question in detail, because we do not know their situation, and therefore we can't, talk about the price, right? And then we go into the actual call to action, right? And showing them that the call is valuable, right? Let's have a quick conversation. I'd be happy to show you all the strategies we put in place to land an extra 3 jobs on average for roofing clients we have in their state, right? And obviously this would be for roofing, right? So we're showing them the strategies that we use to help a client get the result that they want. So again, making it seem like it's valuable. and then obviously sending them the calendar link so that it's, obvious what they should do. So if they let's say they've been burnt in the past, I'll show you one more example of how we actually apply this, right? So if they say they tried something similar to, hey John, I appreciate you getting back to me. I totally get where you're coming from. I've tried a lot of things in the past as well, many of which didn't work, right? So again, pattern interrupt. Like, I am agreeing with his statement and I am empathizing with where he is coming from, right? She's gonna be like, oh, this person actually, he understands what I'm talking about. Now, this is where we go into the next step, which is justifying why they should book a call regardless of their bad past experiences, right? I've also been able to see that a lot of the time, the reason why that didn't work isn't necessarily because the thing was bad, but more so that it was poorly executed, right? So again, we're trying to shape their thinking to be in more alignment with someone that would want to book a call, right? So we've been working in niche for over time, and getting our average client this result that they want in the extra 30 days, right? And I don't want you to potentially lose out on that because of an experience with someone else that wasn't very good, right? So now, again, we're justifying why they should book a call anyways, and we're basically showing them why what they're saying doesn't make any sense, right? And then let's have a quick call. I'll show you all the frameworks we use to get clients results. That's the value piece. And worst case scenario, you can just take all your strategies for yourself. It's a low pressure download. So it's like we are making the call seem like it's actually something that they want to do, right? Again, if you're just saying, let's book a call anyways, for the sake of booking the call, they don't care, right? You need to make them care about wanting to book a call with you, right? People don't book a call if they don't, like, for fun. Like, this is not something that people do, right? So you need to actually make it like something that they actually want to do, and then we're sending them the calendar link, right? So this is the basic understanding of how it works. Obviously, we go into more detail with our clients and actually help them build out their teams and help them build out their infrastructure so that they can get more meetings and can also ultimately get more clients, right? So if you want help with that, you can click the link in the description. If not, I'll see you guys in the next one.